How are you this fine morning?
Just awake. How are
Just so
you?
quick.
Just awake. Yep.
So, as you can see, I did some research on
I noticed. I noticed.
Jataka, and and I I kind of wrote something. I sent you a PDF. Uh,
Right. I haven't had a chance to read everything. I'm sorry. I haven't had a
okay,
chance.
No
I will.
no
I will
problem
by
at
the end of
all.
the day. I will by the end of the day.
But what I going to say is, I'm always diligent. So I did my research. I looked at various, and I can see why you said on YouTube the videos. Yeah, they're a little bit least to be desired.
Right.
Yeah, kind of hokey.
Right. Here's this great content, and it's treated like a bad Hanna-Barbera. It's not even good Hanna-Barbera. Bad Hanna-Barbera.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
And the
So,
story is fantastic.
so what I did, let me just read to you. So I thought we could have like two intros, intro from Richard and an intro then from Guy. So my intro for Richard was kind of simple. I just said this is a story inside of a story inside of a story. Come around the campfire. This story started around 50 years ago. Little Ricky and Peter were surfers traveling from France to India with their surfboards. Why they had their surfboards, that is a good question. So
Yeah.
then I went to my experiences in surfing in France, the Indian-Pakistan War, first day in India, meeting you. Then I did some other stories, and then I did a fast forward 49 years.
Okay.
And then fast forward, I wrote a book called Family and Friends. I wrote about 540 friends and family. I'm doing a series of talk story sessions. Talk story is Hawaiian slang for conversation. And I said,
Oh.
Guy Nuri was one on the first on my list. You can listen to our discourse after 49 years of not talking or seeing each other. This is where the story within a story takes place. Come join us on this grand storytelling adventure. You will have the time of your life. And then I figured, then you could then will be your introduction. Then after we have those introductions, then we could introduce Jakarta tales and go one by one. So that would be just the document itself. But then for each story, as you said, we're going to have to decide, what's the best mechanism to make it highly professional.
By the way, did you get a chance to listen to that one Indian Brahmin talk about the Gayatri mantra?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I mean, talk about a storyteller. There's a storyteller for you, right?
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was definitely a story for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It reminded me of the stories that we used to hear, back in the day. These long, elaborate stories, and with a great, what I like about the Indian stories, which I think is probably true of any of these really old stories, is that they are stories within stories, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I remember in India seeing, I used to like was those Indian comic books. Those are pretty decent for the time. You ever see those? They have one like a Ramayana, Hanuman.
I got the big one. I didn't get any of the comic size ones. No.
Yeah. These were just like ordinary, like Batman, Superman comic books, but they were with the Indian tales in them.
Well, yeah, great idea, right?
Yeah.
We
So
should probably.
I just want to tell you, that I've been doing my research,
Oh,
So usually, when I have a passion for something, I put my heart and soul into it.
fun because I when I got turned on to this thing, I said, how could I have been in the business, so to speak, for 40 years and not know about these stories? And then I found them. I was shown them, or actually I was just given the name, and then it took me a while to locate them. And then unfortunately I took through all that nonsense, and distill out. I had to have my heavy filter on to just extract the story and leave all the visuals behind. Stories are just magnificent, and they're very short. Some of them are very short.
Mhm.
Perfect for a kid. And then and they have this little moral tale, so to speak, to go around with in their head all day long.
Yeah, I have a list. Let's see here.
That's,
Oh,
I don't.
I found a site that had a lot of the Zen Buddhist ones. So they had like one is like demons in the desert. That's correlating to the correct way of thinking. They have ones for perseverance, for greed and honesty. Yeah, all these various different types. So I think that covers, that the entire human gamut of human nature, so.
You're right, and I don't know how many there are, but probably an unlimited number. But I'm guessing closer to 100. Probably.
Mhm.
And I think I even bought a volume. But wasn't very good. It was like it needs English. It needs a Western point of view. It needs all the work. It needs a rewrite.
Yeah, yeah.
A re-
So, what do you suggest? Should our next step? Should we kind of go over what stories we think would be suitable? And then take that story,
well,
digest it, and then completely rewrite it.
well, I like what you're saying, which is let's select a few. I think that's a really good idea. Instead of trying to, catalog them and plow through them one at a time, I think, you and I should both pick two of our favorites, and then start with one and just see how we tell the story. Even if you and I just wind up reading the story and then hand it off to an illustrator or an animator or somebody, that's where it gets a little complicated. But there could be. I draw, but I don't draw that well. I've only done one kids book in my entire life, and I don't think I'm in a hurry to do another kids book. But there are people who, as you know, can draw magnificent, simple pictures, and all you need is just something like. One of my favorite ones is the one where Buddha's brother was very envious of him, and he went and got this elephant completely drunk, and then he stampeded the elephant towards his brother, the Buddha to be, and then Buddha simply, as the elephant came running towards Buddha, he just put out his hand, and then the elephant just sort of knelt down in front of the Buddha, totally calm, collected, and easy. I mean, it's such a beautiful, simple story. It's just
Oh, wow.
It's just an envious brother, which we all are, and he uses the device of an angry bull elephant to destroy his brother, but his brother is the Buddha, so his brother doesn't run away, doesn't complain, doesn't all he does is greet the elephant, and the elephant comes, just comes. I would love to see it done in film. That one I would really love to see.
Yeah, that'd be, yeah. So why don't, if that's your favorite, let me do some research on that. And then you and I'll do like a real simple story on that. And then
Yeah.
we can then, come together, modify it, arrange it, okay, let's do this and that.
Okay.
Are you super busy these days?
Well, I mean, I can do this kind of thing, maybe a couple of mornings a week I could do this.
Yeah, okay, okay. Oh, cool. Okay.
Like Tuesday, Thursday kind of thing in the morning I could do this. This is sort of, my meditation hour, but so in any case, I like the idea of doing it gradually. If I had to take on a major project, it would be too daunting, but to take on one story at a time. And it's nice that you're already interested, which makes it a lot easier. I mean, there's some great Hindu stories too, but they're way too complex. Um, uh, do you know who Vyasa is?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, do you know the origin of Vyasa?
No,
Yeah, well, find out who his parents were if you want to have some fun.
okay.
And I don't think it's I don't think it's a children's story, to put it mildly. But in any case, it's beautiful, and then you realize where all the Vedas come from. It's just kind of amazing. But these Buddhist tales are supposedly from the different lives of Buddha. So it's not like this is one Buddha. These are just all incidents in the various lives of Buddha. I have heard from a reliable source that there have been 7 Buddhas in this era, whatever you call it, in this yuga. Okay, and we're about to experience the 8th or the 9th. I'm not sure, and I think it's Maitreya Buddha that's coming up next, the Golden Buddha. So the Buddha of the future. But what's interesting is all these tales are like episodes from the lifetimes, plural, of the Buddha. And I think that alone is enough, to think about, and then to pick one or two, and then and they vary from, publishing to publishing, they vary. Like I've the one about the elephant, I've read 2 or 3 versions of that. And so it would be fun to, pick one like that. So why don't you see if you can find that one and read it and see if you like it. There's another one about a deer and a hunter. And you have to read that one. And the hunter comes across the deer, and the hunter is about to shoot the deer, and the deer says, "Please don't shoot me. I have a family to take care of." It's just an amazing story.
Oh, wow, wow.
So you've got it. I'm not even going to tell you the story. You just have to find it, and it'll be easy enough to find. It's in the top 10, I would assume. But but it's a beautiful story, and there are a couple of others, but those two are probably, those two are pretty telling. And then it would be good if you like them, if you jotted down the ones that you like. I mean, I would be willing to reciprocate. It'll take me a little time, but because I pretty much have gone through a bunch of them, so I could like take a look and see, I could jot down which ones I'll be willing to do that. Put together a list of, whatever the top 10 tales that I like. You've got 2 of them already. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Yeah. That'd be great.
And then I think, I think eventually it would be nice to figure out how to turn them to a slideshow or a book format. What I like about the slideshow format is it's like a book, except it can be easily turned into something for YouTube or, a storytelling thing on a site like that. Don't forget, the nice thing about story time in school was the teacher could turn the pages at whatever rate they needed to be turned. It wasn't like video, which is so automatic. It's like, okay, now we're beginning. 5 minutes later, you're out the door.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And they can actually turn the page back, and you can sort of go and say, oh, so How did he meet the deer? How did that happen? You can sort of flip back a page and look at it. So I like the slideshow format myself. You know, I think it's kind of an effective format.
Yeah.
And you can export a slideshow into an MP4 with a soundtrack, and then you've got, you have a little video that you can post.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Uh-huh. Yeah.
that's a simple way of doing it. And then, I've done animation. I've written animation software. You and I seem to have spent all our time in software, which I'm beginning to think is something that was originated in India. But animation is a lot of work. It's a ton of work.
Yeah.
I've forgotten what it cost. Years ago, I think it was something like, $500 a second or something like that, or more. It's not inexpensive. The good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then it tends to be highly stylized, so you have to find, the right person, the right animator.
Yeah, my friend, I sent you a link. John Slowski. When I came back from India, he was a good friend of my brother's, and I told him, about my experience in meditating, and he was like just a fish, in loving water. So he's been meditating ever since, and he's an incredible. Well, I sent you his resume. He's done everything from The Hobbit to about 16 major projects. He's absolutely exceptional. He's been like the chief architect for many of these projects. So he's done everything from film. He studied in Japan for 2 years. Just to update his craft. So that's someone. We may back. I mean, talk about synchronicity. Yesterday, I called him just to say hi, and he wrote a book, and I did the introduction for him. And so then when I called him, he says, "Boy, this is synchronicity. I was just about ready to go to the post office to send the book to you."
Well, maybe it's time. What can I say? Maybe it's time. And maybe it's time.
Uh-huh. But, as you say, let's go in slow stages. We're in no rush. Phase one, we get our top 10 stories. We then, as you say, put them in the slideshow. That's one thing that we need to find someone who can actually draw, and put these in because once we have the images, it's real easy to put them into a slideshow. So,
right, and then and then as they become animated, we could also put a little GoFundMe together to do this. But it would be nice in the GoFundMe to have maybe we do a couple that are just slideshows with sound. One of us used to know how to write, which is a good thing. So. Maybe we can agree what the story is, or at least what we think it is, and then, maybe you could sort of put it in American, and then one of us could read over these slides, and that I think there's a lot of people, especially with everybody shut in, what the hell do you show your kids? TV is such a mess,
mm-hmm.
YouTube is such a mess. So, so I think this kind of content would really be welcome.
Yeah. I think I sent you I sent you a link of stuff, that I've done. And one was, take a look at what I did for a Dragon Tells.
Okay.
I have an audio, for the entire book. Then I have a PDF. So if you take a look at the audio, maybe this is similar lines, what we can do for a phase one.
Right. Also, my son is just completing his home audio recording studio. So, we've got, I have a place where it can be professionally recorded. He's studying to be a sound engineer.
Wow.
So
Okay. Oh, cool. Okay.
that would, that would greatly reduce our obstacle there. And it would, it would be good work. I don't have to tell you about good work, but it would be good work,
Yeah. Yeah. So the next couple of days, I think first I'm going to take a look at the Buddha and the drunk elephant. So I'll do a search today, and then in the next couple of days I'll come out with the English version up to date, where teenagers kind of use the language vernacular of the teenagers so they can relate to it.
Right. Keep in mind, teenagers are not like when we were teenagers. They're all grown up. So, if in our minds, but we're thinking about 4 or 5-year-olds, teenagers, what we would write for teenagers would be appropriate for people who are, like 7 to 10 years old these days. They're very sophisticated. They're very fast and facile in their grasp of the language, because the internet is all about getting things, just getting it,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Doesn't matter whether it's right or wrong, doesn't matter who says what or what language is used, just get it. What is the meme, So we've sort of entered into a language of memes, and the Black language in America has started that way, and now it's completely gone that way. And I think it's a much more efficient way of speaking anyhow. But we can find some. I just don't want it to be. I don't want it to sound like a school. That's all. I don't want it to sound like. And I always pick on Hallmark, but I just don't want it to sound like. I don't want it to be like, oh, they were in the hood, and I don't want it to sound like fake. And at the same time, I don't want it to sound like Disney, something,
Mm-hmm.
something. I don't know what language it is.
Mm-hmm.
Richard, I have no idea what language it is these days. You're a kid. I mean, I meet kids all the time, and like I say, the young ones are very, very old. A kid in his 20s is, exposed to it. They haven't integrated it yet, but they've been exposed to everything. So so that's what I like about these stories, is that the meaning side the stories has a very deft story. The way the story is presented in the good ones, it's told in a way so that the meaning has a certain kind of spin on it beyond it leaves an impression on you. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess the best way of doing that is through meditation, through silence. We just have to ask for guidance, for wisdom. Ask for guidance to deliver it in a way that anybody can relate to and would love it.
Yeah. No, I like that idea.
Huh.
You're right, and I have, you and I have the same training, and the deep resource that I had in my life that got me through, God knows how many, swamps of Maya. I could go deep into meditation, and I would come up. I used to go to work smiling, and I walk in the door at 9 a.m. smiling, and the world was coming to an end. That we were out of. We had no money. We had nobody had been paid in a month or 2 months or whatever. And I'd walk in smiling and happy, and hey, let's go. And everybody said, "You crazy?" I mean, and I had already been meditating for 2 hours in the morning, so I was,
Yeah.
my neurons were all charged. So, but I like what you're saying there, because, you know, that we can maybe in this process find some language that makes sense. You know, even doing something like, if you read the story, the elephant story, you know, you and I should talk about it. Maybe you could record us talking about it. And for example, there's almost no description of the elephant. I mean, you know, here's a story whose center character, you know, is the Buddha, but actually the agent of the story is the elephant. And I didn't even find out that the angry elephant was prodded and made drunk by his brother for, like, you know, it took me like 5 or 10 years to find that out from other readings of the story. So, you know, and I had a chance to put it all together. But again, you know, here's this magnificent elephant, and it would be beautiful to, you know, to slow down at that point and describe the elephant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, so that you get this whole thing about the elephant, and then all of a sudden the elephant is charging, and here's this simple, not quite helpless, but helpless, you know, Buddha person, and, you know, he's about to get trampled and run over by this wild, irrational beast, and yet, you know, because he's so full of compassion, you know, it sort of ends nicely. So anyhow, you get the drift.
Yeah, I got the drift. Yep, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Find that story, and then find the one about the hunter and the deer, okay? Because you'll like that one, okay?
Okay. Yeah, cool. Okay.
All right.
All right. Hey, well, have a wonderful morning. Happy meditation. Yeah.
Yeah. Half an hour is not a bad format. It's a good format, you know, especially if we, you know, you've been very responsive in terms of, you know, providing materials and so on and so forth, so that, you know, we can move forward, you know, in a nice rhythm. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right, guy.
You have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Okay. Bye.